Welcome to FBB Forum. I'm very pleased to welcome the stunning IFBB Pro Women's Physique competitor, Susan Graham, to the podcast. Susan has been competing in bodybuilding since 2005, and her most recent show was the Legions Pro in 2022, where she won the Masters over 35 and over 40 divisions and placed fifth in the open category. And now Susan is getting ready for a really big show, the Masters Olympia in September. Is that right?
It's in the end of August.
End of August. Okay, excuse me. And she also competes in powerlifting. But welcome to FBB Forum. It's so good to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. So my first few questions are about how you got started in bodybuilding. And I was curious if you had an athletic or sports background before you started.
So no, I didn't have any athletic background. I probably could have done some athletics, but I was more of a troublemaker, I think. So yeah, I didn't really play sports growing up. And really, I immediately out of high school, I worked at zoos and was like a zookeeper, and kind of just did like a manual labor job. And then eventually I was like, well, maybe I should go back to school or, go do something. So whenever I moved home, I started working out with my mom and she worked out with a trainer. And the trainer was just like, oh, you need to compete, you'd be excellent at this. And I was just like, oh, I don't want to be muscly. I just want to be skinny. But then, when you do compete, you do get skinny, you do lean out, and
that's true.
And I kind of liked that after I did it. And so I competed in 2005. I really liked it. I did 2 shows. And then I didn't know how to diet. I didn't really know what I was doing. So I didn't continue to compete until I think it was 2009 or 10 is whenever I really started back into it and got into bodybuilding.
That's very cool. Yeah. What I was curious, what was your first show?
My first show was it's called Vancouver Natural in Vancouver, Washington. So,
okay, very cool. Yeah.
And then I did Emerald Cup after that the same year.
Now, I was curious, how did you get started in bodybuilding? Like, who convinced you to do your first contest?
Well, I had, like I said, so my mom had a trainer who was competing at the time, and she just really thought that I should do it. And then another trainer I started working with, and he was kind of doing the same thing. But yeah, they just really kind of pushed me in that direction. And then and I was pretty hesitant at first. But then, yeah, once I did it, I was like obsessed. I wanted to do it again. It's just, I wanted to do it sooner than I did, but I just couldn't I was going to college and I just really couldn't get my act together to make it all happen.
That's so cool. Now, I was curious, when you first went on stage in a bikini, was it kind of nerve-wracking for you, or did you feel comfortable on stage?
I mean, I imagine it was, but when you're a bodybuilder, like there's so much work to be done. Like you got to eat right. You got to get your cardio. You got to get your training done. I mean, the least of my worries was that. I mean, maybe whenever I actually came down to the point where I had did all the work and was going to get on the stage, maybe I was, kind of questioning it. But, at that point, you're not self-conscious when you go to the beach in a bikini. I mean, if you show up at the grocery store in your bikini, yeah, you feel kind of weird, but yeah, it's like everybody's doing the same thing. Guys are wearing these little trunks, everybody looks kind of ridiculous. So
yeah,
you just kind of blend in.
That's cool. Yeah. Do you get any nerves on stage these days, or how do you feel on stage now?
I mean, there's always nerves, but definitely the more you do it, the more it's, it doesn't feel so awkward.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, when you first started competing, did you have a fitness role model? And do you have the same role model now, or is anybody different?
I don't know if I would say like I have role models. I just always I really feel like I just compete against myself. Like every time I come to the stage, I just want to bring a better package. You know, if you go and you start looking at, you know, your other people that are competing, it's just like you stare at their best body part and you think, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna be able to beat that, you know, like,
Yeah.
and then, but it's not about like someone that has great shoulders, it's about the whole package. So
Sure.
so I don't know, I just try to like just stay in my lane, like I just do my thing, I try to do better, I try to, you know, beat what I did before. And I mean, I really appreciate the like some of the power lifters that are at our bodybuilders that kind of go back and forth, because I love like the strength aspect of it. So I don't know, I just really appreciate some of like Hunter Henderson and like Brianni Terry, like they're like awesome, like they're so strong and they're just amazing bodybuilders too.
Yeah, Hunter Henderson is really impressive. And I saw an update that she's going to be back to competing in bodybuilding next year, which is
Yeah.
great.
Uh-huh.
And she's really pretty too. She just has a great overall look to her. I really like the
Yeah,
way
she's
she,
got a lot going for her.
yeah, she does. I was really pleased that she's coming back too, coming back to the bodybuilding stage. So yeah. Now we talked about Masters Olympia, and I think it's so exciting that you were invited to attend and compete. So what are your plans for the show? And you haven't been to Romania before either, have you? Is this new?
Yeah, I haven't been to Romania. So, I mean, my husband and I love to travel. So we are definitely excited just to go do that. But unfortunately, I think we're going to probably spend most of the time, like I'll probably try to get there pretty, you know, beginning of the week so I can acclimate. And then my husband farms apples and cherries. And so it's kind of in the middle of the season. So
Oh no.
going to be probably spending too much extra time. I'm going to try to spend as much as I can, but yeah, we'll probably turn around, come home pretty early. And plus, like, I think I mean, depending on how the show goes in Romania, I'll probably come home and do another show or two
Okay.
while I'm in shape. And so yeah, you don't want to spend too much time vacationing
Yeah, that's
when you're
true.
trying to
Yeah.
diet.
All the yummy food in Romania.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's really cool. What shows do you think you might end up doing after, or can you say?
You know, really, I haven't sat down and really focused on it, but because right now I'd say I'm just 100% focused on the Masters Olympia, and
Great.
that's what I'm gunning for right now.
That's great. No, I'm excited for you. I think you're going to do great over there.
Yeah, thanks.
And now, and I know your last women's physique show was Legion's Pro, and I was just curious from 2022. And what was your experience like there? It must have been exciting to win the Masters divisions, I bet.
Yeah, it was exhilarating. I mean, my whole life I've been, you know, competed quite a few times over the years, and it just seems like as I got older and the more I did it, the worse I placed. And you know, so it was really, that show was just simply because I knew I had put on more muscle, and that was always what I was told. I needed to add size, I needed all this, you know, bigger back, more glutes, you know, so I knew I had done that. So I just mostly wanted to diet down, get on stage, and just see what it looked like for myself, you know. So I mean, you know, as a bodybuilder, if you've done any amount of bodybuilding, you get crushed because you think, you know, you feel like you've done so much and you feel so good. And a lot of times the judges just don't agree with you.
Yeah.
So I had no expectation going into that show. I just wanted to bring the best I had. And that day, I guess the judges liked it.
Well, you definitely look a lot different from your last show, which was 2017, I think, and you definitely put on a lot of size, and
Yeah,
and I thought you were more balanced too. So I thought, yeah, it was a good comeback for you, I think.
for sure.
Yeah. Now, and we talked a little bit about that's partly from powerlifting, and you had started powerlifting like 3 years ago, you said,
Yeah, something like that. It was like right before COVID.
and that helped you put on quite a bit of size, huh?
Yeah, it definitely, yeah, it did. I'm not sure what it was. I don't know, a little bit of me, it kind of feels like just not being so focused on aesthetics and, you know, doing everything by the book, like bodybuilding, I just let go of everything and I just want to lift heavy. And I just, in powerlifting gym, there's no mirrors. So you can't, be down on yourself if you look fat, like you just show up, you lift, and you eat to perform. And then all of a sudden, I ended up, I went to USPA nationals in powerlifting last year, and I had no plans on getting back into bodybuilding, but I did a water cut. And after my water cut, I was like, man, I look like I'm like 12 weeks out from a show. And so that's kind of when I started, so leading up to that, I didn't do any bodybuilding training or anything. I just did powerlifting, which is squat, bench, and deadlift, and accessories to support that. So yeah, I'm kind of excited. I've spent a year now doing more bodybuilding training, and yeah, maybe it'll be even better.
That's great. I think it was really a good move for you. And I've seen a lot of bodybuilders who've taken a year off or two to do powerlifting, and their physique, like with yours, it just changed so much. And it really, I think, helped improve your look for the bodybuilding stage. So I think that was a good move.
Yeah, it worked for me.
Very cool. That's awesome. Now, I was curious, from Legions last year, what feedback had you gotten from the judges on where to improve your physique?
They said they wanted to see more depth, more density in my back. And which it's kind of, that's always, my posterior chain in general has been a lot of times where I have been lacking and needing to bring up. So it wasn't a surprise, but definitely been working on it since.
That's great. Yeah. So you got pretty much a year from, well, no, not quite a year, 10 months or so to work on it. Because Legions was November last year, right?
Legions was, I think, beginning of October. Yeah.
Beginning of October. Okay. So almost almost a year. Yeah. So that's great. I was curious, when you're training, what's your favorite muscle group to train and what's your least favorite?
I don't know. I mean, really, I don't know if I love a certain body part, but I mean, I have definitely fell in love with just squatting, benching, and deadlifting. I mean, if you would have told me back when I was a bodybuilder that I would go into the gym and do those every single time I went, I would have said that you're crazy and that I would never be entertained by that. But I love it, and I have a powerlifting coach, Dave Osborne. He's awesome. If it wasn't for him, I definitely wouldn't be a power lifter. I mean, originally when I went to powerlifting, I just never was a very good deadlifter, and I'm a personal trainer too. So I always thought, as a personal trainer, I should be able to coach a deadlift and deadlift myself. So I went to him just simply to learn how to deadlift, and one thing led to another, and and I became a powerlifter.
That's terrific. Yeah. Have you had success with the powerlifting meets in terms of winning some of the shows and stuff?
Yeah, I think I've won. I mean, I've competed. So I never even planned on competing, but my powerlifting partner, Monica, she was going to a meet and she said, "You didn't do this meet with me." And I'm like, I'm a bodybuilder. I'm not going to no meet. And then, but I don't know, if you have friends that kind of make decisions for you, and even if you say you're not, you are. So I ended up doing this meet at the end of 2021.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. And then, and her whole goal was to qualify for nationals. Okay. And so, which we both did. And so since I did, my coach and my friend Monica said, okay, well now you're going to go to nationals with us. And I'm like, that's just ridiculous. I don't belong on a national stage, but I did. I went and I did awesome. I hit all my lifts and ended up, I won my weight class. I think I won. I don't know. I took a lot of the first places and at nationals, and which is awesome. And yeah, can't complain about that.
That's very cool. Now that you do both, do you have a preference for one or the other, bodybuilding or powerlifting?
I don't know. I love powerlifting. I really do. Sometimes like going into the gym for bodybuilding, you're just, there's like, what's the goal? Like 15 reps, 20 reps. This is like, I love going in. It's just like, am I going to be able to lift this today? With powerlifting, it's heavyweight and you're not, I don't know. There's just something just awesome about powerlifting.
I just be worried, like, can I lift this and will my arms get ripped out if I do?
Oh yeah. That's part of the excitement.
Oh man, that sounds painful though. I don't know. Oh man. I mean, you can get injured doing bodybuilding training too, I guess. So,
Exactly.
yeah. Um, now I was curious in terms of I have a few questions about prep and coaching. I was curious, what is like the toughest aspect of competition prep for you for bodybuilding competition?
I don't know. I mean, I've been living this lifestyle for so long that none of it's, I mean, I think what it is it's very rigid. Like when you're in prep, there's no like, oh, I've had things come up and I need to skip a workout, or, it's my mom's birthday, I'm going to go out to dinner. It's like those things you have to plan around. You can't do those kind of things. So I think like this, like the rigidness of actual prep is probably the hardest. You just aren't very flexible. And but that's probably the hardest part.
Sure. Yeah. I bet the rigidness would be tough because it would be I feel like the sameness like of the diet too would be really tough because it's
I eat the same even when I'm not in prep. It's just I eat different amounts of it. So
yeah.
it's I have no problem eating boiled chicken year round. Like it's just easy. It fuels me. It makes me feel good. And that's what I'm looking for.
That's really good. That's good. And that's not too tough for you with the sameness
No.
of the diet? No. That's really
No.
cool. I was curious when you are in prep though, do you have a particular food item that you really miss?
It used to be harder. My husband and I both have a bachelor's degree in making wine and growing wine grapes. So we both loved wine. And then about a year ago, we both, my husband's also a power lifter. And so we both just kind of like that, this isn't really supporting our athletic goals, so we just kind of quit drinking wine. And it's kind of crazy because like, that was the only thing that I used to really miss during prep. And now that I don't have that, it's really like, I don't miss anything other than just being able to go out to dinner with my family or, just do things. I mean, even though I'm not even really craving it, it's just, I like, the flexibility is nice in the off season.
That's really cool. That's kind of neat that you're both wine experts too through your work. And did you guys actually ever work at a winery to make it and stuff like that?
Yeah. So we, after we got married, we kind of sat down and we're like, where would we live if we could live anywhere, And so we both love Paso Robles, California. So we both got jobs down there and we moved there. And I worked only briefly in the wine business because the real world, once you get out of it, like it takes up time and you can't get your workouts in. And so I quickly became a personal trainer so that I could be in the gym whenever I wanted. Sure. And but my husband, he worked at a winery and he became the head winemaker and he was really successful. We actually even tried to buy the winery, but just didn't work out. And which now I'm kind of grateful for. Everything works out for a reason.
Yeah.
But after that, we were down in California for about 5 years, and then we moved back to Washington State at that point.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah. That's I bet that would be bodybuilders don't necessarily drink much alcohol because I'm sure it's not great for your diet too.
Yeah.
And so it's probably not good to have a bunch of bottles of wine around. Or to be working in a winery too, that'd be tough.
Yeah.
That's interesting too about the farm. You said that y'all have a cherry and apple farm?
Yep. Cherry and apple farm. And so my husband now does that. He farms apples and cherries. And yeah, and then my whole family's into it. So
Wow, that's really cool. But is that stuff y'all can even eat, or that you can eat, or is that too much sugar and stuff? Yeah.
during prep, not a lot of fruit, but
No,
and outside of prep, yeah,
that would be tempting to have all that good fruit around.
it is. But it's like there's something about when you get like prep going, it's just like you get blinders and it's just while it's like, oh, it would be nice, but a lot of things would be nice, but it's not necessary.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Now, I was curious, do you have a prep coach?
Yes. So I work with Jake Benson, and he's absolutely amazing. Like I said, I was trying to think about how I could say like what he's done, but like he's just done he has a nickname of like the magic man, because it really is like, I'm not really sure what we're doing. Like we're not doing a lot of things that are really crazy, but I am just making really good gains. But he does every aspect, he looks at my blood work. And I mean, I've always had issues with like high fasting blood sugar. And I just kind of given up, like, okay, that's just how it's going to be. And my doctors are never concerned about it, but working with him, I've like fixed that, brought that back into range. I mean, just
Wow.
in all aspects. So like not just building muscle, it's just like my health in general, my whole sense of well-being has been improved.
That's terrific. That's really cool. How long you've been working with him?
So after my powerlifting meet last year, when I decided, hey, maybe I want to do a bodybuilding show, I was like, well, who do I think the reason why I've been successful in a lot of what I've done is because when I decide to do something, I find the person that I think can help, has specific knowledge to help me. So I knew that Jake, he actually coaches Hunter and Brianni that we were talking about before, who are excellent powerlifters and also good bodybuilders. Well, he works with them. And so I'm like, well, I know that I just want to try this bodybuilding thing, but I really want to be a good powerlifter. So he obviously understands both worlds. So
Yeah.
I sought him out and yeah, talked him into working with me. And
That's
that was,
terrific.
what is it? It's like almost exactly a year ago.
Oh, very cool. That's great. Yeah, that's good that he's got his foot in both worlds, I guess, too.
Yeah.
Powerlifting and bodybuilding. Yeah. And we'll make sure to include his Instagram, if he has Instagram, down below too in the comments, so that if people want to check him out. Now, do you have a posing coach too?
Yes, I work with Christina Mendoza. And
Okay.
that's new this year. I just was seeing that she was turning out a lot of good people and excellent posers. So yeah, I've just been started working with her this prep.
That's terrific. Yeah, she's really amazing too. I know
She
she's
is amazing.
competing in Chicago, I think. So I'm
Yep.
excited to see how she does on stage. I bet she'll be terrific though. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I was curious, what advice could you give to up and coming bodybuilders who are looking for a good coach?
I think, well, like I was just talking about earlier, just because you think somebody's cool probably doesn't make them a good coach. And so I always think like, what do I need out of a coach? So like when I went to Jake, I wanted to, I wanted someone that could help me with power, like I could become a better powerlifter and a good bodybuilder. And I knew he did both. I just knew that he knew, different techniques and like that I was interested in. And so that's why I sought him out. Like he's not known as like a bodybuilding coach, but I knew he had the knowledge that I was looking for. And like same with Dave Osborne, my powerlifting coach, like I wanted to learn how to deadlift. And so who's better to teach you how to deadlift, but a powerlifting coach, because that's just what they do. So yeah, I think whenever somebody's looking for a good coach, it's find somebody that has the knowledge that you need to learn, so, if you already know how to work out and that part of it, but like, you don't really know, the diet and the supplementation, like you need to seek somebody out specifically more for that. So, just because you like how they look doesn't probably mean that that's exactly the coach for you, but you
Sure.
just the proper knowledge.
I was curious, since you're a personal trainer, have you ever competed without a coach, or just kind of coached yourself, or had your husband coaching you?
Yeah, well, so back in 2005 when I first competed, I worked with it was a personal trainer at a Gold's Gym. He had competed before, and so he was, he definitely helped me get to the stage, and got, that was all good. I mean, it wasn't like an in-depth coach, like I have now, but it was definitely guidance. And then in 2010, like that, there wasn't all this Instagram and all. I don't even know if I was even on Facebook or whatever, but
Yeah.
but I did when Women's Physique came out, I got really excited because I really felt like that was a good niche for me.
Yeah.
And so whenever I wanted to learn about it, I figured out who just won nationals, and I sought her out, and I found her email, and I emailed her. Her name is Sheila Brown. She's still out there.
Oh yeah, I remember her.
Yeah, and so I tracked her down and asked if I could hire her, and she was kind of like, well, I guess, and so somehow we figured out that we met in California, and she taught me how to pose, and
Great. Yeah.
But a lot of it was just me doing my own thing, and I kind of feel like I didn't do a great job because I'm really good at just not eating. And so I must have good genetics. So I would just kind of starve myself until I saw my muscles, and then I would go get on stage.
Oh,
and
I see.
as we all know, that's not a great way to prep for bodybuilding.
Yeah.
So definitely getting a coach was a step in the right direction for me.
Yeah, I think so too. And yeah, and having that, like I said, the powerlifting edition too, that's been really helped you a lot, I think. So.
Yeah, I think that's was a missing part that I really needed, and too bad I just figured it out.
Yeah, no, I understand. No, but you have plenty of time to keep competing, and yeah, you're doing great. And like we talked about with Sherry Priami, like she's 48 and she just keeps getting better and better. So
yeah, awesome.
Now I was curious, you talked about your husband, you said he's a power lifter, but is he a bodybuilder too? Or would
no, before powerlifting, he was, he trained like a bodybuilder. So he went to the gym and has always been fit. But we both kind of transitioned to bodybuilding or to powerlifting at the same time. Like I said, I went to learn how to deadlift, and then I got there and I was like, this gym's cool and there's cool people here. I was like, definitely let's ditch Gold's Gym and let's go, we need to come here. And so, ever since, like, we both just have been like, fell in love with the sport of, and, because the community is so much different, bodybuilding is such a loner sport, but powerlifting, it's like, we all get together at the same time. We all lift heavy things, and it's fun.
So it's more, oh yeah, I didn't ever consider that. So bodybuilding's more isolated sport, you think?
Oh yeah, like I have to, like, whenever I do my bodybuilding workouts, a lot of times I just go to Planet Fitness, and I just like focus, because I'm counting all the, I got like 20 reps, you got to count, you got to like write down your weights, you've got to keep track of everything, and it's like there's just, it's like, I don't know, it's very focused, I think, in powerlifting, you do one rep, and then you chat, you maybe do some accessories, you do another rep, so it's definitely different.
That's cool. I didn't realize that. That is kind of cool though. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was curious, did you and your husband ever like prep for a show together? I've heard that that's kind of tough to do.
Well, I can imagine prepping for a bodybuilding show with my husband would be challenging, but my husband's super patient. If anybody could do it, it would definitely be us. And it'd be because he's good at he's patient. But we both competed in powerlifting. We did a meet at in April, the end of April. And so we prepped for that together, which is just very different than bodybuilding, but it still is, like, you got to stay focused, and it's still prepping for something, but it's not as rigid as bodybuilding. And it went good.
That's really cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I think you both need to have patience with each other when you're prepping for something like that, so yeah.
For sure.
I was curious, what do your parents think about your fitness career, and are they supportive of you?
Yeah, I mean, they're just kind of like, oh, whatever you like, go for it. I don't know. My dad, he does especially love bodybuilding. He loves, like, I remember my first show when I competed in 2005. I think Sheila Bleck, I think she was guest posing at my show, and he just thought she was so neat, and he bought her t-shirt, and I think he still wears it. Like,
That's
so
awesome.
so he loves like the muscle, and he's always super proud of me. But so yeah, they're super supportive, and parents usually don't understand, like, you can't eat a blueberry. It's like, no, I'm on a specific diet.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're like, eat. Yeah.
Yeah,
And they don't understand why you're not eating and stuff. So yeah.
yeah.
Or
But they
eating
know
like,
at this point, they don't question when I show up with all my own food, and
oh
just
yeah,
eat by myself.
they're used to it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I was curious, you mentioned doing the personal training. Is that basically your full-time job?
Yep. Yeah, I have a studio at my house. I'm actually in it right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just converted a 2-car garage into my studio, and yeah, just train. It's works out perfect.
Do you find it kind of hard to juggle the demands of, work and home life with your bodybuilding and powerlifting career?
No, because I make my own schedule, and I don't try to overdo it with my clients, and I guess I'm good at balancing, just I know whenever I get so too many clients, then it's just, yeah, it's hard. But yeah, I'm pretty good at just keeping my priorities straight.
Do you have any clients that have competed in bodybuilding too, or?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
have quite a few. I mean, I have a lot of just people wanting to be fit and healthy as they age, but also have I always have a few bodybuilders that I work with and I help, especially like just, kind of up and coming
I was
bodybuilders.
thinking you could put them to work on the farm, like go clean up
Yeah,
that.
and that's kind of what I think. Like, I didn't play sports, but a lot of my jobs were picking rocks out of fields and hauling lugs of cherries. And I was always the girl that, people were grabbing my arms and, talking about how big my arms were. So,
Really?
so I think that is a lot of where my strength and muscle mass started.
Really? That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. But it'd be free labor too. Just put those guys to work. Yeah. um, I just have a few more questions for you, and we got about 6 minutes left, so we're running low on time. But I was curious, like, do you like to show your muscles off in public, or do you prefer to stay covered up? I know you're in Washington, so you're probably limited the time of year, season-wise.
Yeah. I mean, I don't go out of my way to show my muscles, and I don't try to cover them up. I just, I'm not the one that's gonna like freeze to death because I want to show my muscles. Like,
Okay,
if it's
cool.
hot out, I'll be in a tank top. If it's not, I always try to be tasteful. I'm not trying to let every body part hang out or anything, but
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just whatever.
that's cool. I respect that. I was curious, what would you do to improve the sport of bodybuilding, and how would you try to make the sport better if you were in a leadership position?
I mean, I don't know if I really have a great answer, but I was kind of thinking about it. And one thing I love about powerlifting is they have a website called Open Powerlifting that you can go and you can see, if you hear somebody's a powerlifter, you can look them up. You can see how much they, where they rank, and it's super fun just to have all this data about, anybody and everybody that's ever competed. And it's just fun to like see where you rank, and see, it's just it's really cool. But in bodybuilding, there's really nothing like that. So for the Masters Olympia, I had to give a list of all the shows that I had done. And so I've done like 16 shows, And but I couldn't find like the placings or anything, because like you can't just look up one spot. I mean, if you look up my name on, you know, a IFBB website, it's like I have like 2 shows under my name, you know,
Oh,
and
really?
it's just like
Yeah.
there's just really no database to really to track all that stuff. And I just think it would be an improvement for the sport if, you know, there was something like that.
Yeah. I guess the closest thing would be like NPC News Online.
Yeah, but even there, like I have, like, I think that's where I look. I think I have like just like a handful of shows that show
Oh,
up there.
really? Oh, wow.
Whenever, yeah, I've done a lot more than it shows.
Yeah, that would be nice to have more of a database. That's true. I hadn't thought about that, but that's, yeah. I'll have to check out open powerlifting too. I haven't seen that before.
It's super fun. Like, yeah, you can like put these different filters on it, and you can just see like, you know, like I have a good bench, so I can like really like I can put all the filters on just to see how I compare to, you know, some of the other top powerlifters in my weight class and in my age group. And yeah.
Wow. That's really cool. I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Now, I was curious, do you find it kind of tough mentally with body image, you know, going from like the bulking phase to the lean competition condition? Because I think,
I
I think a lot of women struggle with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're crazy if you don't, a little bit, but I don't know, like I used to really struggle with it, I think, but I think as I have gotten older, and maybe this is like as I put on more muscle, like I just feel like when I put on weight, I don't feel like I just, you know, if I gain weight in my stomach, like nobody likes that. But when I'm putting on weight in the off season and like I feel like my glutes are getting bigger, well, I don't mind that, you know, like I don't, um, but yeah, at this point in life, I feel like I kind of enjoy both versions of me.
That's good. Yeah. No, I think that's really good. Because I think a lot of women do struggle with that. And I think it's not just women, but men too, that are bodybuilders.
Yeah.
I think
I would say, when I was younger, that's one of the sole reasons I competed, is just because I couldn't live with myself. I had a lot of more issues with that.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure. I don't know if it's his age or what, but it's just a very different feeling I have now
That's
towards
cool.
that.
Yeah. I think with age, age comes wisdom, and with
I
age
think
comes
so.
like, I don't give a shit, kind of thing
Yes,
too,
exactly.
or give a shit what other people think. So,
Exactly.
yeah. That's very cool. I'm running low on time. We only have like 2 minutes left. I was curious, just a real quick question. I was wondering how do you think we could get bodybuilding back on TV again? Because I remember back in the day when ESPN and NBC would cover bodybuilding or
Yeah,
women.
that's hard because like, I mean, like, I don't even watch TV. So like, I'm like, but I do watch a lot of YouTube and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm just grateful that, you know, whenever I want to go watch bodybuilding, I can usually, you know, do a quick search and find all of it.
Yeah.
But as far as like TV, like, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'd need to watch more TV in order to know how I'd get it back on TV.
I like with ESPN and NBC back in the day, it introduced a lot of people to bodybuilding. So I think that they
That's
were
true.
impressed by it. So it kind of, that exposure, I think, helped bring people to the sport. So yeah, I mean, personally, I would like to see that again, but I'm talking about the 90s. It's been a long time. So
Yeah,
now we have less than a minute. So I was curious, could you do a quick flex for me and
sure.
say something real quick too, because it'll bring the camera back to you. Go ahead and talk real quick.
This is my flex.
Awesome. You look terrific. Thank you so much, Susan.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'll get this posted relatively soon. And best wishes to you at the Masters Olympia too. I'm really excited for you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. And we'll have it posted soon, and probably later today.
Oh, great. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.